If you are a construction business owner and you have ever said the words, "I don't have time," this episode is for you. Here's the thing. Not having time isn't just a problem. It actually isn't the problem. Not having time, if you're a business owner, is your business trying to get your attention loudly. It's a flashing red light. And by the end of this episode, you'll see why your lack of time isn't actually the problem and what to do about it. You're listening to the Construction Leading Edge podcast from constructionleadingedge.com, where we are all about systematizing your construction business to eliminate chaos and maximize profit, freedom, and impact. My name is Todd DeWalt, spelled D-A-W-A-L-T, and my team and I have helped over 400 construction companies eliminate chaos, grow their profits, and grow their team. So let's jump into it. I was having a conversation with a client who's a president of a large construction company, and he told me about how one day his VP came into his office, sat down, and was frankly talking about some issues and complaining about things. And he heard his VP say this phrase over and over, "I don't have time. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do this." And the president listened to that for a while, and then he gave his response, a very short one-sentence response that stunned his VP. The VP sat silent in his chair for a few minutes because he'd never thought about it that way. The president said something to him that he'd never thought about. I'll explain that in just a few minutes. But I'm curious if any of these sound familiar. Maybe you're working late. You find yourself working 50, 60, 70 hours a week. You're interrupted all day long. You're missing family time when you are at home. You are constantly checking the phone. You're responding to emails. You can't take vacations. If you think about taking a vacation, not sure what's going to happen. You spend way too much time in constant firefighting mode. You are the first one in, the last one out, and you spend all day working on stuff, and then you look at your to-do list, and you don't make any progress on that stuff. Every little question, every decision, every problem lands in your lap. It all rolls downhill to you. Maybe you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and look at the alarm clock and think, what did I forget? Did I order this? What about this? Did this customer get taken care of? Did I respond to that email? Constantly waking up in the middle of the night. You really can't even think about growing the business because you're barely getting by. You're just taking it day by day, trying to keep your head above water. You have become the bottleneck to the business. And deep down, you know you're the bottleneck, but you just don't have the time or the energy to do anything about it. And maybe you're even starting to resent this little business that you once loved. You're thinking, I started this business to have something, freedom, more money, for my family, and this business is not giving you what you wanted out of it. And maybe you're like one of my clients who said this a couple of years ago. He said, I'm looking at burnout again. You can see burnout on the horizon walking towards you for the first time or maybe the second time. So think about these questions. What if nothing changes over the next year or two? What if your lack of time stays exactly the same for the next year or two? And if nothing changes, what's going to break first? I studied structural engineering back in college, and we always looked at the failure mode. How is this beam going to fail? How is this wall going to fail? So when you look at your situation, what is most likely to break or fail first? Is it your business, your health, your marriage? And if you've built this business that is so dependent on you that it absorbs and consumes all of your time, is it really a business? Or do you just own a really stressful job? As one of our clients said before he started working with us, he said, I feel like an overpaid superintendent, an overpaid estimator. How much is your lack of time costing you? Are you so buried in $20 an hour tasks that you're missing out on $100,000 opportunities? How's it impacting your long-term wealth? Do you have time to invest in real estate and businesses and things like that? How's it affecting your long-term wealth? And then what about your team? How is your lack of time and your stress level affecting your team? Do you feel like maybe they're feeling it as well? And then what about your family? How's it affecting your family? Are your kids just getting older and you're watching them grow up and not able to spend time with them during really important years? That stress you feel, that drain, approaching burnout, what you're feeling, if you chronically don't have time, this is a signal from your business that something isn't right. All right. It's a signal. It's a flashing red light on the dashboard of your business that's telling you, hey, your business has some problems. Your business may be structured for stagnation, maybe even structured for failure. Your lack of time, if this has been going on for months or years and you just don't have time, that is a flashing light on your dashboard saying, check the engine. Something's not right. I want to hit this head on. All right. There are some wrong beliefs about this, and I want to pull the covers back and show you the truth about a lack of time. And we've helped hundreds of people who have come to us and said these exact same things. And here's the realization that they've come to. You think that the reason you can't build systems in your business is because you don't have time. You're saying, I would love to build systems in my business. I would love to have systems and processes in my business, but I don't have time. The truth is, your lack of time is exactly why you need to build systems. If you are chronically out of time, if you're chronically working too many hours, spending too much time on firefighting, constantly pulled into problems, those are flashing red lights, your business saying you need systems. Warning. They're warning lights telling you something's not right, that you need systems. So think about it this way. Imagine if you saw one of your friends and they told you, man, I broke my leg, and they're limping and hobbling around, but they don't have a cast on. And they said, well, yeah, my leg's broken. I broke it a week or so ago, but it's too broken to go to the hospital. I'm just going to wait when it stops hurting so much. You would say, that's crazy. Your leg is not going to stop hurting until you go to the hospital. And saying your leg hurts too bad and it's too broken to go to the hospital is saying, I don't have time to build systems and processes in my business, right? The reason you don't have time is because of the lack of systems and processes. And actually you have a couple of options on what to do about it. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Let me walk you through a process that we use with our clients to uncover what is the real problem. You may be thinking, my biggest problem is my lack of time. My biggest problem is, quote, I don't have time to do anything. But that's probably not actually your problem. Hey, it's Todd. We'll get back to the episode in just a minute, but let me ask you something. Have you ever signed a contract and then everything starts to feel a little bit chaotic? Questions fly around like, who's ordering what? When does the job actually start? Is the team ready? Did anybody order this material? Has this been approved yet? Project starts to feel like a fire drill, right? Well, the biggest problem in most construction businesses isn't a lack of effort. It's not the people. It's not the projects. It's not the clients. It's not you. It's the gaps in your process. Gaps where details fall through the cracks, where nobody's sure what to do, who's doing what, when it gets done, and you, the owner, end up filling in all those gaps, right? When there are questions, who they got to call? If there's a problem, it's going to land in your lap. And the biggest gap is pre-construction. And the solution is simple. Nailing the handoff from sales to construction. Nail the handoff from the office to the field. Your projects are like a relay race, and there's a baton that needs to be handed off. Nailing the handoff is a well-designed pre-construction process that closes those gaps, eliminates the chaos, and gives you back control. It gives you back the time so you can work on the business instead of being buried in it. And we can help you build that process. The first step is to book a free business evaluation call with our team. On your business evaluation call, here's what we're going to help you do. Spot the real gaps that are creating the chaos, show you how to nail the handoff and how doing that will put you back in control of your business. We'll even uncover some of the hidden profit that's already in your business. And if it makes sense, we'll talk about how we can help you build a business that runs without you. Click the link in the show notes to schedule your call. Be advised, we only have a few spots available each week, and not everybody qualifies for this call. This is not for everybody. So if you have a wave of work coming at you, or you're planning on growing and hiring people, now's the time to close those gaps with a good pre-construction process. If you're ready to stop reacting and finally take control, this is your next step. Go book your free business evaluation call with my team today. What you need to do is figure out the root cause. And there's a really simple, really powerful method called the 5 whys method. And the way it works is you list what you think is the problem. In this case, I don't have time. And if we were sitting down on a coaching call, here's what I would do. I would say, what's your biggest problem? You would say, I don't have time, Todd. I just don't have time. I'm working 50, 60 hours a week, all of these things we've already talked about. And then I would say, why? Why don't you have time? You might just look at your phone and say, well, we've been on this call for a few minutes and I've already received 5 phone calls and 5 text messages. And I would say, all right, well, how many calls do you get a day? And you would tell me, well, I receive somewhere between 75 and 100 phone calls and texts per day. So that's 7 to 10 calls or texts per day, or per hour, rather, 7 to 10 interruptions per hour. So if you spread that out, that means you're getting interrupted once every 3 to 5 minutes, right? You can't get anything done. If your phone is constantly ringing, dinging, you're getting email notifications, not to mention people walking in your office asking you questions. So the reason you don't have any time is because you get so many phone calls and so many texts, you can't get anything done. And I would say, okay, well, why do you get so many calls and texts? And you would say, well, my team is constantly asking questions about projects and how to do things. And I would say, why are they asking so many questions? And you would say, well, they're asking me about selections on projects, asking for decisions, asking about conversations that we had with a customer. Has this been ordered? What are we using here? What sub are we using on this project? And you would say, well, the reason they're asking me so many questions is because it's all in my head, right? The information is scattered all over the place. Most of it's in my head, or it's in somebody's head, or it's in somebody's email box. So the team is constantly searching like Dora the Explorer, trying to find information about projects. Why is it like that? Why is information scattered all over the place in some combination of text strings, email inboxes, and in your head and scraps of paper? And you would say, well, we don't really have a good handoff process. We don't have a handoff process. We sell the project, we gather the information we kind of have, and then we just jump into it and we get started. And I would say, why don't you have a good handoff? Why is there not a good handoff to the field team? Or why aren't we giving the field teams everything they need to finish up front? And you would say, well, it's because we don't have a pre-construction process. We go straight from sales to construction, and we're missing this pre-construction process. And I would say, well, why don't you have a pre-construction process? And your answer might be, we never really thought about it. And we don't know how to do it. We didn't realize that this pre-construction process existed. And that's the root cause. So the root cause is actually a lack of knowledge, or a lack of knowledge about a pre-construction process. So after just a few minutes, you go from thinking, well, my biggest problem is the lack of time, to realizing that the lack of time is a symptom or a side effect of a lack of a process, or a lack of knowledge. So the real root cause that has to be solved is a lack of knowledge and having a pre-construction process in place. So there could be several root causes, but here's the thing. If you try to solve the I don't have time symptom, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. It's not going to help. It's going to cover it up, maybe, but it's not actually going to help. So if you want to solve problems, you have to get to the root cause and solve the problem. And I'm here to tell you, in 80% of the cases that we've worked with, 80% of the people we've helped, the root cause of not having time is a lack of a good pre-construction process, or what I like to call the just enough to start trap. Doing just enough to start, just enough to get to the next step. So that's how you find out what the actual root cause is. Think about this. Imagine that projects move without you. You walk in on a Monday morning and you hear and see that things are happening smoothly without you. You have large, uninterrupted blocks of time to work on the business. CEO deep work sessions is what we call these. Having 2 to 3 hour blocks of time with no phone calls, no emails. You can put your head down and work on big picture stuff, $1,000 an hour activities. Imagine being able to take a real 3-day weekend and leave the laptop at home. Maybe even take a week-long vacation, go on that camping trip, fire up the RV, go to the beach, maybe take your family away and leave the laptop at home. Imagine if you have the time and energy to focus on growth of the business, finding the right opportunities, making relationships with referral partners, hiring and growing your team, spending time finding investment opportunities. Maybe you're trying to expand your real estate portfolio. Maybe you have money sitting in the bank and you're paying taxes on it because you don't have time to go find investments. Maybe you want to expand, acquire another business, go into a different geographical market. Maybe you want to do some philanthropy, do mission trips. Imagine having time to do those things and wondering, what am I going to do? What am I going to spend my time on? This may be kind of a moonshot, but it's a reality for some of our clients. Imagine being able to run your business remotely, whether it's in your home office, at the lake house, or even in another country. We have clients who've gone to Europe for 2 weeks at a time with their family. We have one client who spends 16 weeks a year at his beach house in Mexico. Imagine having that kind of time. So here's the thing. Remember that story I was telling you about the VP telling his president that he didn't have time? Here's what the VP was telling him. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. I don't have time. So finally, when the president had a moment, here's what he said to him. This is 100% in your control. Your lack of time is 100% in your control. And that's what stunned this VP. He sat there in silence. He didn't know what to say. He'd never thought about that. He had apparently always thought that his lack of time was somebody else's control. It was something he didn't have any influence over. So his president said, this is 100% in your control. And this is what I would tell you too. Your lack of time, if you are a business owner, is 100% in your control. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Yeah, but Todd, you don't know about these employees that I have. They constantly ask me questions, and I would say, okay, who hired these employees? Yeah, but they're not trained right. Okay, who's responsible for training these employees? Who's responsible for holding them accountable? Who's responsible for firing them and hiring better people? You are. Yeah, but these customers, Todd, they're constantly asking me questions and they're a pain in the ass and all these changes. Okay, who's responsible for that? Who's responsible for setting expectations with the clients? Who signed the contract with these people? Yeah, but Todd, these projects we do, they're all so custom and they're all so complicated. Okay, well, who did that? Who's responsible for that? Hey, this is Todd. We'll get back to the episode in just a moment, but I've got a time-sensitive announcement for you. If you're frustrated with your team and you've ever caught yourself thinking, why do I still have to do all of this stuff myself? Then this is for you. Maybe you're constantly cleaning up after your people. Maybe you're constantly answering the same question over and over. Maybe you can't take a real vacation without your phone blowing up. You have these things you want to work on in the business, but you just don't have time. Or worse, you're concerned that your A players could be getting burnt out because they're carrying the weight of the B players that you've kept around for too long. If that hits close to home, then this is for you. There's a better way. On October 16th, we're hosting The Advance. It's a one-day live event in Nashville, Tennessee, designed to solve the biggest growth blocker in your construction business: your team. And the theme for this event is how to build the team that builds the business. Here's what you're going to walk away from this one-day event with: how to stop settling for B players, how to develop intrapreneurs, employees who think and operate like owners, and how to build a culture where your team takes ownership of results. This event is not for entrepreneurs. This is not for people who are a one-man show, one-woman show. It's not for aspiring entrepreneurs. If you're thinking about starting a business, or if you don't own a construction business, this is not for you. It is for owners of custom home building and remodeling companies doing at least $1 million in revenue a year, and who have a team and who want to build the team that builds the business. If that's you, go grab your seat for this one-day event, The Advance. Go to constructionleadingedge.com/live, LIVE, and grab your ticket before it sells out. This event will sell out, so go to constructionleadingedge.com/live. live, L-I-V-E, and grab your seat for the advance and learn how to build the team that builds the business. I'm here to tell you, if you hear yourself saying, I don't have time, the first step is you've got to realize that you are 100% responsible. This is 100% in your control. And until you embrace that fact, you're never going to get out of it. So if you are saying, I don't have time, and this is a chronic problem, you have three options. Option one is do nothing. Just deal with it. Stay stuck. Keep complaining. Keep on keeping on. Same inputs, same results. Maybe you could do what the definition of insanity is, keep doing the same thing, and you could expect different results. But option one is do nothing. Maybe even blame other people, right? So option one is do nothing. If you want to do something about it, you have one of the following options. Option two is you could DIY it. You could DIY this problem, try to figure out what the root cause is, and then try to figure out the solutions for your business, and then use trial and error. You could read books, listen to more podcasts, and try to DIY the solution to this. A lot of people do it. It takes a long time. It requires trial and error. And in my experience, DIYing it is the path of most resistance, and it's the riskiest option as well. The third option, if you want to solve this lack of time problem, or frankly, any kind of problem that you want to solve, is find a proven system that gives you the results that you're looking for. If you need to communicate with people, you have a couple of options. You could try to DIY a cell phone and spend years trying to invent a phone that works because you don't want to spend the money on an iPhone. Maybe you're one of these contrarians who doesn't want to use Apple products, and you don't even want to use an Android. You're like, I'm going to build my own phone. I'm not going to spend that money on a phone. So you could spend a bunch of time and energy trying to DIY the phone, or you could just find a proven system, go buy the phone, and then go spend your time on what you enjoy and what you can actually make money at. So the third option is find a proven system that gets you the results you're looking for, do the work, invest the money and the time in a proven system. So those are really the three options you have. Do nothing, DIY it, or find a proven system that gets you the results you're looking for, and then go all in on that. So here's my challenge for you. My challenge is do the 5 whys exercise for your situation. You may be surprised how quickly you get to the actual root cause, and you may be surprised what the root causes are that you're dealing with. So 5 whys, list the symptom, and then ask, why is this happening? And then why is that happening? Keep asking why until you get to a point where there are no more answers. And at that point, you've arrived at the root cause, and then do something about it. Remember, your lack of time is 100% in your control. And if you want some tools and resources for creating time and solving this problem, here's something that is brand new. I just created the Builder CEO Weekly Operating System. Okay, this is a 3-part system that helps you create time in just 15 minutes a week. This is something that until now we've only made available to our high-level coaching clients inside of our programs, but just now opening it up and making it available to you. There's a 3-part system. There's the CEO schedule to show you how to design your week and take control of your time. The MIT list, or the most important things list, that'll help you stay focused on the results and the outcomes that matter the most. And then the Win the Week execution plan, a weekly ritual. It's a 1-pager you can use to win the week, because you win next week, this week. If you wait until next week to try to win it, it's going to be too late. So get your hands on the Builder CEO Weekly Operating System, the 3-parts system that will help you control your time and reclaim your time in about 15 minutes a week. The link is in the show notes, and you can grab that there. And if you know that you need help, you need a proven system to systematize your construction business, if you know you got to get your pre-construction process dialed in, if you know you need clearly defined roles and responsibilities, if you know you need a strategic blueprint for your business, and you want our help, you can apply to work with us, the Construction Leading Edge team, by going over to constructionleadingedge.com/apply, or the link is in the show notes. More details on that in a moment. So there you go. Your lack of time is 100% in your control. Go take action on that. And let's talk soon. See you next time. Hey, it's Todd here. One more thing before you go. Remember, if you're dealing with chaos every day, if you're spending too much time in firefighting, if your whole team is in reactive mode, it's probably not your team, it's not your clients, it's not your project, it's not you, it's the gaps. And the biggest gap is the one between signing the contract and starting the job. That's where the details get missed. That's where the stress begins. And the fix is simple. It's a solid pre-construction process so you can nail the handoff from the office to the field. We want to help you build that out. And the first step is to schedule your free business evaluation call. Click the link in the show notes. We're going to help you identify the root cause of your chaos, show you how to unlock the profit that's already in your business, and we'll lay out a plan to help you nail the handoff. And if it makes sense, we'll talk about what working together looks like. So click the link in the show notes to schedule your call with my team. Be advised, calls are very limited and not everybody qualifies for these calls. So go book your call today, and I'll see you next time.